My name is Matt Pennington, and this is the thought experiment presentation. So the three components that I wanted to talk about was Orlov, Friedman, and Sayers. Orlov talked about devaluing the U.S. dollar and what he thought about green products, or environmentally friendly products. Friedman talked about how the Earth is flat and what flat actually means. And then Sayers talked about the double overlap and the three components that makes up the double overlap. So I'll start off with talking about Dmitry Orlov. He wants to devalue the U.S. dollar, devalue it to the point that everybody liquidizes all their assets and goes out and buys a bunch of land, and your value is amounted by the land you have. That's a terrible idea. He gave this speech, in 2009, whenever the market had just collapsed. But essentially devaluing the U.S. dollar and everybody living off the land, that sends us back to Bible times, and we'd have to restart we'd have to rebuild society at that point. And I really don't think there's a need for that right now, especially with how we are in 2019. The market is doing pretty well. He made an interesting point about living off the land and how whenever you leave a plot of land alone, after a few years, it does revert back to its wilderness phase. And this was interesting. I did agree with this. Land does have intrinsic value. Property does have intrinsic value. I don't think everybody's money needs to be tied up in property, though. Another thing he talked about was throwing green products in the trash. He wants everybody to go out and buy the most green most green products that they can, throw them away, then go buy more, then throw those away. It's a terrible idea. I mean, all of the little bamboo toothbrushes that you see on the shelves at the dollar store, they reduce waste in a landfill. They will decompose over a period of time. Plastic will not, I don't agree with devaluing or with throwing away all the environmentally friendly products. It's not great, especially with Elon Musk and Tesla. What he's doing with Tesla, he's created plenty of jobs, plenty of sustainable jobs for people. Yeah, green products, green cars, they will eventually drive oil cost up, and what he's saying is that's going to lead to a market crash, but I don't think that merits, the complete removal of green products. The next thing I want to talk about was Thomas Friedman and his theory about the Earth being flat. He went to Bangalore and saw that Bangalore is basically the technological epicenter of India. He compared it to Silicon Valley. His speech that he gave, it was very factual, and it was not what I would consider wrong. His information would be dated at this point. He saw what's happening over there and realized that if we don't adapt, we're going to get flattened. We're going to get steamrolled. And I agree with that. The phrase that I kept repeating in my essay was adapt or get flattened. This speech was given 14 years ago, so think about all the technological advancements we've made in the past year and multiply that by 14. So yeah, adapt or get flattened. I would say at this point we're approaching concavity, because some corporations and businesses are beating others into the dirt, just with how great they are. So yeah, this flattens the market, creates an open source market. And then the third concept that I wanted to talk about was the double overlap, which Sayers talked about. Three components that make up the double overlap is opportunities, ability, and desire. So just me personally, I had the opportunity to go to school. I got a scholarship, came to USM, I had that opportunity. Ability, I'm graduating here in the next 16, 17 days. I have the ability to graduate. I know enough about accounting, and I've demonstrated that enough to my teachers, and it shows in my grades that I do have the ability to graduate. I know enough about accounting to be able to graduate. I've got that ability. And then the last one is desire. I have a desire to make something of myself, but not only for myself, for my family, for generations to come. I want to make something of myself. I've got that desire. In my essay, I talked about opening up a food truck. That's a realizable goal that I have in the future that I want to make happen. I've got that desire. If you look at the roughly 2,000 kids at every university that are going to graduate in the next few weeks, you couple those together with the opportunity, ability, and desire that everybody has, the market should be flourishing. And that's what I think would happen if everybody had the double overlap. So whenever you have these three components all together, I don't think they can exist together. You've got Dmitry Orlov. He talks about the market being destroyed, basically. You've got Friedman talking about how the market's going to be flattened and approaching concavity. And then you've got Sayers talking about how the market is going to flourish. I do not think that those three concepts can happen in the same reality. So yes, thank you. Those are my thoughts.